is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, as we always come together at the same time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So, what do we have? Well, we've got a lot of volume. You ran every short that there was that I think could conceivably have been short. We've gone to a high level, given 75% of that back, but haven't gone back to being negative, except on the Dow a little earlier today. It's up just 0.2% now. S&P up 0.6%, and almost 0.9% on the NASDAQ. I think a lot of people are way in front of the cart here. They've got the horses in front of the cart, behind the cart. Anyway, there's a cart involved, I'm sure. So what is that? You got a lot of volume. You give it up almost instantly. I mean, you've got really what kind of amounts to two big rejections of higher price. There were a few things that made me decide that I wanted to go short. I thought it would be they'd hold it up till this afternoon. It didn't hold up that well or that long, but I thought maybe around 2 o'clock they would let the shorts out if they'd been that way. I think a lot of other people were just waiting for any opportunity to short when it did pop and jumped on top. Option market makers, by the way, didn't flinch at all. They're still looking in the mid 380s on the SPYs. So probably a pretty good indication that we're got some downside between now and Friday. Options expiration and quad witching's always a little tougher to ferret out. But generally, when you don't have any real movement in the underlying options, pretty good indication that that's where they're headed, or in that direction. We might find that changes before the end of the day. But I think right now what we're looking for is the Fed note tomorrow, probably somewhat of a move. The Friday puts and calls will probably, after we get the initial movement, will probably, the premiums will vaporize to nothing on Thursday. And my guess is we'll probably have a big move on Friday, one way or the other. We'll have to see where we go. But overall, a few things didn't add up before the bell. First one that I did not like was gold. Gold was way up. It should have been probably, if inflation was going lower, should have been way down. So who was lying? Was it the broad indexes, or was it gold? I think we can now say later in the day out here that it looks more like gold was telling the truth, and the S&P was a little bit of a white lie for a while. Anyway, as I said, lots of volume, which is a good indication that the people that were short gave up. The big guys wanted to get short, probably for the Fed meeting tomorrow, and that's probably where a great deal of that volume came in. One of the other things that I had in the newsletter this morning too, which was kind of a tip-off, was pretty high dark pool percentages of the traded shares. That generally means that the retail trader is not doing much of anything. And that's when I start seeing a lot of stunts from the people on Wall Street trying to move things around or get something started. But rarely does that actually is anything that lasts any period whatsoever. Anyway, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den. And see, what else do we have going on right now? That's kind of it. Did I not have? No, I've got that. I do have some questions here. Let's answer those. There wasn't much going on in history today in technology, so I'll get that. But the first question is, what's going on with the nuclear fusion? You've been talking about that for a long time. I see the articles. Did watch the interview with the scientists this morning from the ignition facility. And if you're unfamiliar with this, they started building this thing, I'm going to say 30 years ago. It is, or was, 192 lasers all pointed at a central spot. And they were going to put in the nuclear fuel, which is either deuterium or tritium. I think they did both on what this was today. But they've been at this forever. Of course, the old running joke is nuclear fusion, not to be confused with fission. Fission leaves byproducts and radioactivity behind. That's when you take a big atom and split it apart. This is just the opposite. You find the smallest atom, like either a hydrogen or helium, and actually put them together, and you've got a little bit left over, and that equals E equals mc squared. So both of those things throw off a lot of power. So they put in what's about the equivalent of a hairdryer on low, and got out the equivalent of a hairdryer on high, a hot blow dryer anyway. It was about 500 watts in and about 750 watts out. Which is not a lot. But they've never been able to get more power out than they put in. The idea is once you get that started, it just continues to feed itself back into a loop, and you'll have a ton of energy in no time at all. So does this mean we're going to be plugging our laptops into the wall, which is plugged into some nuclear fusion generator, Mr. Fusion? Probably not real quickly, but technology comes in spurts and stops, and this was something that literally they'd worked on for 30 years at this facility. So, and just remember, this is a facility where the lasers are 20 years old. This is not cutting-edge technology. They've just been working on different ideas with this stuff. It isn't the most powerful of lasers. It's not all the new hoopla. It's no machine learning. It's not better magnets. It's 20-year-old crap at least. They didn't say crap, but I'm going to say that it's 20-year-old crap, and they got it to work. So the idea is that anything newer, hotter, faster, more well-designed and optimized could be coming down the path. But my guess is we're probably 5 years away from the first reactor, and probably 10 years away from one that actually gets hooked up to your wall socket. Anyway, big news in technology. Always a good day to have something like that. We'll be back in a minute.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we come back, I had a question about what's going on with Tesla. This looks like it's going back to this 145, 150 level. I haven't changed my story since and knew this is going up. Of course, between the split or pre-split, it was $1,000. I've never changed my story. The only thing that's happened now is people who bitterly hate free speech are coming after him. They could come up with a variety of reasons to come after him. I think the weakest one is that he's actually pushing a free speech platform. They could bring up him showing his semi 3 years late and that it only holds about 20,000 pounds. So it's probably not going far and it's not going big. We could bring up what I've always brought up, which is that historically, car companies haven't been able to hold more than 6 to 8% margin, and that it would be more adequately priced at $60. The same people that are raining on him today are the ones that were yelling and telling me that I was stupid when it was up at the highs. It was going to double and triple before then. In fact, they remind me, a lot of the people that don't have a Tesla but bring up Tesla a lot do remind me of the crypto folks. They really don't want to admit that their opinions have very little to do with any kind of reality. It's all based on what they think about what he says. How many times has he said that we were going to Mars or doing other things? But you can do anything, but God help you if you try to help anybody out with free speech in America. So my belief on Tesla is, is it going to cost him some customers? He was selling everything he could make already. The big problem he had and still continues to have is the production in China, where they don't give a rat's ass about whether or not someone's on Twitter. He's selling 1 million vehicles over there. And the rest of the world, where they're kind of confused by the whole idea that we're consumed by Twitter. But 148, 150-ish, probably about where support would be, and that should be fairly long-term support based on the chart. Again, my belief has always been that when new cars came out in competition for it, the 20 to 25% margins he had would go to about 6 to 8. But maybe he's just going to push that a little bit further ahead by espousing free speech principles. But I actually wrote in the Tech Insider why there is some new technology that he invested in 7 years ago that tells me that Twitter might be the most profitable company he ever has in the future. And, there's the old saying that some technology or new technology that's advanced is indistinguishable from magic. Well, that's what he's got. He's got some technology. It's kind of hard to explain over the radio. I put it in my Tech Insider yesterday. That tech could mean that he could run the company with 1/10 of the employees that he used to have. So instead of being a big dummy, he may be, again, the biggest opportunist that we've ever had. But, you can call me up and tell me I'm all wrong. 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. Okay. 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 Boeing got an order for 100 new planes. Again, we're getting these kind of semi-breakouts that kind of give it up before the end of the day. Not a bad-looking chart, but probably up at the top end of its range for a while. I continue to say that the biggest problem with Boeing is not producing planes, but working and getting pilots to be able to actually fly those planes. I didn't do anything in history, but maybe I should bring you what brought us to the problem that Boeing actually has today, and that is people with 1,500 hours to sit in the right seat of a big airliner. And this started in, I think, 2007 or 2008. There was a plane crash of a commuter airplane in New York. And the early running for the cause of this issue was that supposedly these pilots didn't have enough time. And that kind of narrative went on for a little while. And to espouse many people, Senator Schumer, and I'm trying to remember the other one, Gillibrand from New York, decided that they wanted to gain some political hay. So they said, well, we're going to move up the amount of hours you need to 1,500 hours for a pilot in the right seat. And, of course, if you didn't wait for the full report, that was probably a good read on it. The problem was it didn't have to do with anything with the amount of time that these folks had in it. But the law got pushed through fairly quickly. No one wanted to think about the long-term ramifications of this. And now we have a system where in Europe you can have 350 hours and sit in the right seat. That's the co-pilot if you live in Lutz. But to sit in the left seat, of course, you have to have 1,500 hours. The problem is it's kind of like a doctor. How do you get that much time, and who do you get to pay for it? There's only so many small single prop airplane jobs around, so there aren't that many people. My guess is that we do get some kind of bill maybe in the next year that at least says that pilots will be able to fly till 67 instead of 65. But we're knocking on that door right now. My big problem is, or the big problem for Boeing is that a lot of these pilots are right at retirement age over the next couple of years. And it won't be that Boeing can't build them. It may just be that you don't have pilots to fly them. What is the title of the article, Dave? On what? Don't know what he's referring to. 877-927-6648.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And yeah, I guess I probably shouldn't have said anything because now I've got to bring it up. But it's part of my article about a new technology called ChatGPT. And as I said, anything that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. This has been nothing but the talk of technology for the last 2 weeks. If you bring anything up or do a search for it, you're going to find that you're going to be inundated with it. But I'll just do the highlight, and that is there's 2 stages to this. One, it does a very good idea of changing text to an idea and then implementing that idea into an answer. Let's say that you may need to do something like program a computer. On a smaller version, you can ask it to write code and it can do it. So not quite the rise of the machines. It's not quite Terminator time, but kind of the same thing that we had with the nuclear fusion. A jump of not a little bit, but kind of the difference between going to orbit and landing on the moon. That's probably a good example of just how far advanced some of this technology is for text-to-speech and then speech to actually an idea. But there's a lot of examples on it on the internet. And anybody in technology, it's one of those things where you look at something and you go, wow. You just know that the world has changed, kind of like fusion over the last 2 days. I had to really tell a lot of people that there wasn't a lot of money in machine learning because everybody really just kind of came up with it. Even this technology is patented, but the patents are under a license, can be had for free. But it's the using of these technologies that makes the money. And of course, for the cloud companies, it's how many servers they can rent per hour. My guess, though, is that this is going to put a great deal of people out of a job that were doing kind of menial tasks just because it is so good. But I don't know. It'd take me like an hour to really think about doing it justice. Maybe if nothing's going on Friday, maybe I'll talk about it. But it is, there are a few things that people have been talking about as much as that. 877-927-6648. Okay. Okay. Is SoFi at a bottom? Let's take a look at that. Okay. I don't know. I need to look at the books on this one. It's got kind of the pattern you see. Let me take a real quick look at that. See if there's anything else out here. Financials. Okay. Again, one of these companies that you kind of don't want to be in right now are ones that aren't going forward but kind of going back. And, could you get a bounce between now and Christmas? I think you can. But, again, I'm fairly bearish in the new year. I don't think there's a great deal of what you want to be doing that is long-term on this. Could you go back up to $5? Yeah. I just don't think that there's a great deal in this long-term. I think it's going to be looked at not well in the first quarter. And it's probably like most companies, you just don't want to be into this kind of stuff that needs money or needs cash. Anybody that's going to add additional shares to dilute what they have, that's going to be a lot of companies in the first quarter next year that are already kind of on the ropes. So just, you got to really know which company you're looking at, whether they're going to need cash. I'm guessing these guys will. So I'd probably stay away from it. 877-927-6648. Let's see what else we have here. I haven't looked at this one in a while. Got a question to take a look at DLR. Okay. You got a pop today, kind of like volume. You've kind of come off the lows. Digital Realty Trust sells a lot of locations, rents a lot of places for people in the cloud and in digital computer kind of businesses. The big problem is this. I've looked at this company a few times. It's very hard to see what they actually have internally for risk. Real estate, I don't think commercial real estate is probably in a big a pickle as residential real estate in most parts of the country. But I know I'm pretty sure this is the one that what's his name? I'll think about it here in a second. Mr. Enron Shorter did go short this at about 140. He said that there were some problems in the Chanos. He did say that there were some problems in the books, and that's kind of where this thing started off. I have no idea if he's still short this thing, but if I remember right, he was, when this thing was just about coming off the highs back here, I want to say in April, March, May, late April. I think that's this little gap down was when he started talking to people about him being short. Chanos kind of famous for shorting a few companies. He actually shorted Tesla for a long while, but got out. But certainly, well, I don't know if he got out, but I'd have to check. But he did fairly good from 140 to 85. But generally, he's the kind of guy that hangs on like a dog with a bone. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's still short. He may have gotten out of some and reshorted later, but certainly some stuff there. I was looking at a job at the Fusion Company, interviewed on NBC found a posting for an AI engineer in California. If they were in New Jersey, they'd be trying to get a job there. Going to the break here. We'll be back. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And let's go back to the usual suspects today and see what they did. I mean, none of these candles are probably going to look good. Maybe something changes between now and the end of the day. But you had a lot of stocks out here run after resistance levels that they had. In this case, on Apple, it was the gap down on the 25th of November. And I think the next day at about 69 million shares. You got in there, you got similar volume, but gave most of it back here today. Again, kind of a pattern that generally says they just ran all the shorts because there were too many out there today. Okay, since I'm talking about fusion, what about fission? Take about CCJ here. And see what else is out here. Nice little pop on this, gave it all up. I think the bigger problem now is what China's going to do, why they're saying that they're not going to do the lockdowns of before. Everybody's kind of nervous that they're still going to do it. But, I think right now everybody wants to wait for the first earnings report after them buying the Westinghouse and their debt. I think long term it's going to be good. The question is how quick can they move through all that debt and the other problems that Westinghouse has. But, you can think that it's going to be a combination of these two if you want any kind of non-carbon kind of energy production. But, I don't see anything that says it's bottomed quite yet. Maybe next year after the first, something might happen out here. Let's take a look at some of the others in technology and see what those candles look like today. Kind of the same thing with Micron. You had a nice bounce up to 57.89. You're basically back to the closing price of yesterday. So not much going on there either. Again, you get these kind of little burps in the market many times in bear markets. I don't see anything that says we're out of the bear market. I see a lot of people trying to buy every low in it, but I don't know. Buying right now into the Fed announcement, if I knew what he was going to say, maybe I would, but kind of a desperate attempt to keep the market up before the end of the year. I don't know. Just weird. Okay. Any chance that you'd buy Planeteer at the first of the year? Well, this one did a little bit better. You at least had a gap higher. and it's holding that gap, at least somewhat. You went straight into resistance, though. You got a lot of volume. My guess is a lot of these that have bottomed or made fairly good bottoms, like this one. You had the test of November 7th. That was at $6.89 with 100 million shares. And you could get that. You got it tested with 33 million shares, so about a third. So there's a pretty good looking bottom on this. The energy off this November 15th high back down to this low was very light. You did go a penny underneath it. You closed back in it. This is the first sign of life on this. So I think this one may be a good play. But again, generally, you're going to probably see a little bit of a pullback. But if you were thinking about playing this one, especially, if there's probably a lot of shorts in it, and that's what you saw today, probably too many since it held up much better than the rest. But generally these are fairly good plays at the beginning of next year. But a little more. Okay. Question about biotechs. Let's take a look at the IBB real quick. I like that one just because it has more, about 200 stocks almost in it. You got the gap up in this volume, not all that exciting so far. The last major high was on the 2nd of December. That was at 3 million shares. You got about 1.4 so far. You got into that candle. You haven't given it up, so it's probably the good thing. But, I would have liked to seen this gap higher back on the 10th of November to have a little bit more juice in it than it had. And it really just went sideways, and this is it. My guess is that also at the beginning of the year, biotechs will probably see a bit of a pullback. What else do we have here? Let's check the email. Okay, see if there's anything else we've got. Okay. Question about Workday. Okay, I see why you're looking at this. So far, you've challenged the previous high with lighter volume. You had two of them. It depends on which one you want to be more charitable with, either the 10 million share high or the 2.6 million share high on August 15th and August 26th. So you're into that with 1.66 million shares today. You didn't hold that high. You're going to close back in there. Tomorrow is going to be a lot more important, but it kind of just looks like last gasp stuff. But probably not going to have a lot of sellers in that before the beginning of the year. See. Okay. Okay. And a look at the GDX. As I said at the beginning of the show, when we had the big move this morning, I had to think that one way or the other, somebody was lying, either the big indexes or gold. Gold is still up $30 and about 1.7%. You're up, 38 points on the S&P right now. You're challenging the previous high that had 50 million shares. You got 50. You didn't hold that high, though. Probably not the worst candle out here on a day where you had a fairly big reversals intraday, and now you're trying to keep that up. But I don't know. Hard to think that a lot of people that are in gold are going to sell it before the first of the year, especially with the way the market's acting. Kind of tough to think that a lot of people want to get on the roller coaster ride if they're not actually trading from day to day, and this looks at least a little bit more stable to me. What else do you have out here? Okay, question about the SOX, SOXS. I'm going to be going to break here for a second, so I'm probably not going to film this out, but now you're probably going to have more volume out here in this. Well, there may be something there. We'll talk about that when we return.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Sign up for Basil's live webinar, airing this Thursday, December 15th. Basil Chapman will be hosting his first ever live trading webinar, just in time for the holiday season. While Basil will focus on the S&P E-mini futures, other symbols from gold, crude oil to natural gas and more will be traded as appropriate. Basil will demonstrate specific Chapman wave techniques, as well as answer questions live. Spots are limited, and Basil goes live Thursday, December 15th. You don't want to miss it. To sign up, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're looking at the semis here. Let's go to the SMHs. See if that's kind of telling the same story here. You've got, I would probably have already been thinking about shorting this. If you had a gap. And maybe that's exactly what you got here. Generally, I like to see that the gap remains all day long. But you do have the first major gap in the SMHs. That is from about, about 183 to 187. You get the next one on the 9th of November. That was about 194 to 205. You now have one that's about, about 226 to 234, and it gave it up that day. So, yeah, that is a potential three-gap play. in the SMHs. I'm just hard pressed to think of a reason why they'd blow that up in the last couple of weeks of the year. I can think of some other stocks that they could, but you really want to watch out if this actually has a follow-through day tomorrow by the close. But that could put a pretty big lid on it. And, of course, three-gap plays generally tell you that they come right back to the beginning. Normally you get the three gaps and then it falls apart either that day or the day after. So I think tomorrow's close is going to tell you a whole lot of whether or not this is a three-gap play higher in the SMHs. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot tomorrow. Of course, join us tomorrow for the Fed notes. Tomorrow, a lot of stuff, generally pretty highly volatile. So when you can, not when you have to, we will see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems